Dennis Rodman rose from obscurity to become the NBA's bad boy.
I was bigger than the game. I was actually more famous than the game.
This is Dennis Rodman, as bad as he wants to be. Beyond the Glory, next on FSN.
Rodman shoots from ahead of the key, drills a 20-footer.
He is one of the greatest players in NBA history.
Down the lane, Rodman. Amazing.
There it is. Dennis Rodman's first career triple-double.
I was bigger than the game. I was actually more famous than the game. I'm going to be the bride today.
He went from a shy, non-assuming kid to a megastar.
Most people evolve, he revolted.
Dennis Rodman, in handcuffs, charged with misdemeanor battery.
The party life kind of took its toll.
Police say Rodman faces a number of charges, including driving under the influence of alcohol.
They're not laughing with you anymore. They're laughing at you.
It had gotten to a really bad point.
There's been many times I could have been 6 feet under easily.
He really is very emotionally fragile.
He's one of the most strong-willed people I've met in my life.
I think there's always going to be a mystery to him.
I'm not going to die without completing what I've been put on this earth to do.
This is Dennis Rodman, Beyond the Glory.
Absolutely outstanding. Unbelievable.
I concluded that he bet on baseball.
Do you have anything to say to your fans?
March 2004. A minor league basketball game between the Kansas City Knights and the Long Beach Jam. And for Dennis Rodman, a humble return after 4 years to the game where he'd once been a superstar.
Dennis Rodman is back.
To go from being one of the greatest players in the world to playing for a team like the Long Beach Jam, I mean, you got to be able to swallow your pride and take a huge step back.
When I started this venture, it wasn't for people to see that I can go play ball again. My goal was to get back in shape and just to look presentable.
Rebound, Rodman.
You know, I'm not doing this for people, I'm doing this for myself.
For more than a decade, Dennis Rodman loomed larger than life. He was one of basketball's great performers and most colorful personalities.
He's bohemian. He's Moulin Rouge, the movie. That's Dennis Rodman. I mean, he's creative. He's just a different kind of artist.
He's not like an athlete. He's more like a rock star.
When you say Dennis Rodman, you are taking on way more than, you're taking on 10, 11 guys in one guy.
But after leaving the NBA in 2000, Rodman made headlines for all the wrong reasons. While his lifestyle, fueled by alcohol, kept his closest companions in constant fear.
I was concerned about him physically, I was concerned about him mentally, I was concerned about him in every way.
The amount of alcohol he was consuming and the environment he was putting himself around and just the atmosphere, the element of people was just, it was crazy.
I was scared to death. He's going to party and rage till he's out of money, he's totally broke, and then he's going to end his life.
But Dennis Rodman's path has never been predictable. Now sober, he's determined to reinvent his story and his character one more time.
No matter how crazy the ride is, as you go along, you still come back to where you started. And that's where he's at. He's back to where he started.
My life is a movie. You got your good points from the beginning of the movie. You got your sad points. You got your bad points. You know, you go and correct some of the mistakes you've done in the script, and then you end up with what? A happy ending.
Dennis Rodman grew up with 2 younger sisters in the Dallas neighborhood of South Oak Cliff, a crime-riddled section of town.
We have lived in some neighborhoods that was not the best neighborhoods, so I never could allow my kids to come home and be by themselves.
Once people saw me, they thought I was going to be a bum, a loser, go to jail, do drugs, be dead, you know, because that's where I came from.
Dennis's father, Philander Rodman, left the family behind when Dennis was 3. He eventually fathered more than 25 other children.
Anybody that don't have a father, it's kind of difficult just because you want somebody there. No one can ever take place of your natural father, your blood.
It didn't work out with my husband, and I always thought over the years that Dennis has always faulted me for that.
I don't think it was that fault. I think the fact that my father, he liked to produce, and he produced in every other, driveway.
With her husband gone, Shirley maintained strict discipline to keep her kids in line. She worked overtime to put food on the table, even driving the local school bus.
They said I was mean and tough, but I genuinely loved the kids, but I think that I might have been able to give them a few more hugs. Maybe back then that might have been better, but I don't know if I had the time.
Don't remember when my mother ever hugged me or anything. I don't remember that. I remember she ever embraced us and held us, and, I can't even think of one.
Shirley's tough love kept her kids out of trouble. But while her daughters flourished, Dennis withdrew.
Dennis was real shy. He's really shy. It was like, he just wouldn't talk to anybody.
The girls kind of overshadowed him a little bit, and I imagine it was pretty difficult for Dennis to cope with just women in his life.
She tried to give me somebody to put in my life, a male figure. She went like the big brother, big sister organization, tried to go give me a big brother, but it wasn't the same. I mean, it was more like just pawning me off to somebody else.
The one place Dennis came alive was on the basketball court. He teamed up with his sisters at a nearby gym.
They was pretty much better than anybody. They was better than everybody, even guys. I mean, they would go out there and play with guys like it was nothing.
He played real good. It was like, I was the point guard, and he was the post player, and my sister was like a forward or something.
I did that every day for like 5 or 6 hours a day. I just lived there, until I had to go home and go to bed.
But while Kim and Deborah became high school stars who drew college scholarships, Dennis drifted through his teens.
He didn't have any interest in anything except for the gym and pinball machines, and that's it.
I can't even begin to portray to you the shy young man that we're talking about. The one that held onto my skirts. The one was so shy he wouldn't even date. Dennis didn't even date.
But Dennis was changing. At age 20, he abruptly shot up in height, from 5'9" to 6'8".
Even today, I still feel like that, I'm not a big person, but sometimes I catch myself like, wait a minute, hold on, I'm 6'8". Wow, I'm Dennis Rodman, I'm this guy.
Playing in the gym, Dennis caught the eye of college scouts. In 1983, coaches from southeastern Oklahoma State tracked him down at home and offered him a scholarship.
I think that really put it right on top of my head and said, wait a minute, hold on. I gotta do something in my life, and it's gotta be something positive.
Southeastern Oklahoma State was in the middle of rural farm country. Dennis was living at the college that summer and coaching a basketball camp when he met an 11-year-old local boy named Brian Rich.
I was a foot smaller than everybody, so I had to really, dig down and hustle, and, that's what he kind of liked.
Every day that week, he came by my side the whole time. He was with me the whole time. He did everything I did. He went to practice, I went to practice. If I died on the floor, if I died, he died. If I go jump in the stands, he goes. I mean, every little thing I did, he did it. And he pulled a good one on me the last day of the camp. He said, "I want you to come to dinner in my house." I'm like, what?
I'm 11 years old, and they're thinking, well, I'm gonna, bring one of my buddies home. They're same age, same size, Then I come walking in the door with with a 6'9" black guy. There's not a whole lot of black people up there.
His dad looked at me like I was some lost alien or something. He's like, wait a minute, hold on, this your friend? This is your friend? This 6'8" black guy, 22-year-old guy is your friend?
Everybody was kind of uneasy at first because it was like, having dinner with the president,
When I went there, he sprung another one on me. He said, he asked his mother and father, could I spend a night? And they just looked and dropped their jaws and said, hold on, we'll be right back.
I said, hey, just let him stay the night and you can take him back in the morning.
And from that day on, I was with that family for 4 years.
southeastern Oklahoma State, Dennis was an instant sensation and an All-American for 3 straight seasons.
The first game, I think he scored 42 points and grabbed like 20 rebounds. Everybody's like, who is this guy, you know? After that, he packed the gym every night.
I was just excited. I was just excited just to be, here and just, just enjoying the game.
In the spring of 1986, Dennis led his team to the NAIA Final Four. NBA scouts took notice. That summer, he was drafted by the Detroit Pistons.
I was just happy just to be anywhere. Just anywhere. I didn't care. I just said, okay, now it's time for me to go to work. And just fortunate that it was Detroit and the people there took me in.
Life in the NBA was a giant leap from small-town Oklahoma. But Pistons coach Chuck Daly took Dennis under his care.
He needs a little bit of guidance and maybe a little bit of father figure to tell him what to do, and Chuck was really good with him on that.
This was a kid who was definitely a fish out of water. And so Chuck was like, come to my house for Christmas. Come to my house for Thanksgiving.
He felt attached to me, and I felt attached to him because he knew all the frustration I was going through as far as making it and trying to play. I wanted to play so bad. And I never let him down. Not one time, never let him down.
Here's Rodman with a steal, and Dennis with that quick slam.
The Pistons were the NBA's bad boys, a team that fought opponents tooth and nail. Dennis fit right in.
I wasn't trying to be famous to doing dirty work. I was just making it fun to do it and enjoy to do it.
We call him Big Man because he played the big man. He played like a big man. He played way outside of himself. Dennis loved to play against who everybody considered to be the star.
We got Mark Aguirre, we got like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. All those guys that were so great, so good. I just wanted to see if I could stop these guys.
Dennis did just that. By 1990, he was an all-star and a defensive stopper as the Pistons won their 2nd straight title. He felt like he'd found a home.
I just looked at those guys like, hey, these are my brothers, that they look over me, they look after me, they take care of me, so I got to give something back. And the things I was giving back to is my heart and soul and my love for the game.
He really loved that team. He really loved Detroit, period.
The NBA's Defensive Player of the Year, Dennis Rodman.
But after their championship seasons, the Pistons came apart. Key players were traded away. Then coach Chuck Daly resigned, breaking up the family for good.
Where's Dennis going to go to Christmas dinner and Thanksgiving dinner? Who's he going to be able to talk to? If father disappears, you got to be your own man. You might not be ready to be.
When he loves somebody and cares for people, and then they leave him, it hurts him. And he doesn't recover as fast as a lot of people. He doesn't move on. He can't move on.
Dennis's life was unraveling off the court as well. In 1993, he married model Annie Banks, his long-term girlfriend and the mother of his young daughter, Alexis. But the couple divorced after just 82 days. Annie took custody of their daughter and refused to let Dennis see her.
He was too young, and they were both too immature at the time to be in that kind of relationship. She had her own problems, and he had his, and I guess they were throwing them against each other.
That was like the last straw for Detroit. That was it for me. I just said, screw it. I'm not dealing with this anymore.
He couldn't see his daughter. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was kind of hitting him all at one time, and he just kind of broke down.
One night, the police found Dennis sleeping in his pickup truck with a shotgun in the back. He'd left behind a note that some believe was a suicide threat.
I think he had probably called her up and told him he was going to do this and this, blah, 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 whatever. He kind of went out on the limb and was trying to get somebody's attention.
I wasn't going to kill myself. Physically, I wasn't going to do that. I just wanted to have something in my hands and imagine and visualize that I did it. That I did it to kill this person that I've become. Such a follower, not a leader or not a person that can stand on his own 2 feet. I have to have something to keep me, I didn't know what to do.
With his team and his marriage in shambles, Dennis Rodman vowed to change his life. Few could imagine how thorough that change would be.
That moment made a great turning point in my life and saying, well, okay, all right, now, you know, let's find out what his new identity is going to take you.
After 7 seasons with the Detroit Pistons, Dennis Rodman's life was in tatters. His coach departed, his team broken up, his marriage destroyed.
He didn't believe in his teammates. He didn't believe in basketball. He didn't believe in anybody.
Everything started to diminish, just disappear in front of my eyes.
Traded to San Antonio after the playoffs in '93, Dennis vowed to reinvent himself from the top down.
He'd gone through a really traumatic, emotional time. And that summer when he got traded to the San Antonio Spurs, he saw the movie Demolition Man. And that is why he dyed his hair originally blonde.
I went and got my hair dyed, and that's when my life changed completely.
We end up rooming together, still got the blonde hair, and jokingly, I say, you know, why don't you dye it green? And the next day he shows up with a green.
After that, I started to dye my hair different colors, and all of a sudden, kids all over Texas, color hair everywhere. Every game, people came to look at my hair. They came to see what's different about me. Then I started getting piercings, I started getting tattoos.
The more extravagant he was, you know, the more of an entertainer he became, and the more the people loved him.
He went completely ballistic in San Antonio. He shocked those people out of their boots.
No one in basketball looked anything like Dennis. No one played like him either.
I went through every day, every game, performing the way, you know, like it was no tomorrow.
He was like a cartoon character who happened to be the greatest rebounder the game's ever seen.
A lot of it had to do with, you know, his childhood and him wanting to become a superhero, you know, and wanting to be a Superman and have a coat of armor where no one could ever hurt Dennis again.
I wasn't trying to teach kids any bad values. You know, I was just doing things that I wanted to do as a kid.
Dennis was living out his fantasies off the court as well.
Madonna had been at one of the games that we're watching the tape on, and she said, one guy that I really would be interested in is Dennis Rodman. And we looked at each other and said, okay, we got to make this happen.
She was a free spirit, go-getter. I don't give a damn what you think about me, and pretty much that's what I was.
Dennis loved putting people at edge. So since you're going to stare at him anyway, he's going to give you something to look at.
But Dennis's flamboyant lifestyle clashed with San Antonio's cultural climate and the religious values espoused by the team's top star, David Robinson.
I was the devil, he was God, he was Jesus, and I was, you know. So people said, well, you know, he's not gonna fit in, and they try to talk to me and tell me to go to church and give me my Bible. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do my job, you do your job.
Dennis led the league in rebounds for the 4th time in the 94-95 season, as the Spurs posted the best record in the league. But when San Antonio lost to Houston in the conference finals, Dennis took the heat.
Dennis played exceptionally well in that series and dominated, but you had to either point the finger at David Robinson or Dennis Rodman. So they pointed the finger at Dennis Rodman.
But Dennis landed on his feet. He was traded to the Chicago Bulls. 3-time NBA champions with the greatest player in the game. And a coach who knew exactly where Dennis was coming from.
In Chicago, if Dennis got a technical foul or kicked the ball in the stands or, you know, did something outlandish, you look down and Phil Jackson would have a smile and a smirk on his face and be like, I used to do that.
I really wasn't trying to physically hurt anybody.
And the photographer is hurt.
You know, just the heat of the moment, and the things that I did was more like, okay, great, I'm gonna do this, and hopefully that, you know, things will be cool. But, you know, I could have did a lot worse things than that besides kicking somebody. I could have punched somebody in the face.
Follows in emphatic fashion.
A technical foul has been called on Dennis Rodman.
Rodman, 7 technicals for the season, no suspension.
And here comes taking each other to the floor. Dennis will take off the jersey. Throws it to the floor. Dennis Rodman is irate.
Oh, that stupid Rodman.
Phil Jackson wrote a book called Maverick. Dennis Rodman wrote a book, Bad as I Want to Be. It's the same book.
Plays, does his job, he comes to practice, he keeps his mouth shut, he works hard every day. He's never delinquent. He's just a very easy person to have on a basketball team.
Phil Jackson knew that I was going to be there to work and do my job. He knew that what he can always count on. As far as everything else, he had no control. He didn't want no control on it. He didn't want nothing to do with that.
Dennis rewarded his coach's trust. His work habits in Chicago became legend.
He would spend literally 24 hours a day in the weight room, basically pumping iron all night and sleeping in the training room.
I go before a game and work out, you know, 45 minutes. After the game, I go and do another 45 workout, do the treadmill or whatever. I think that was a mental part of my life that was really focused.
Rodman again leading the league in rebounds, 15.5. Dennis Rodman!
The results were dramatic. With Dennis doing the dirty work, the Bulls became an NBA dynasty.
I didn't miss a beat with, you know, about all the things I was doing off the court. I didn't miss one beat.
On the court, no one worked harder than Dennis Rodman. Off the court, no one played harder.
I really didn't do anything before a game because I knew I had to perform the next night. What, the days in between? Man, it was like on. It was like on. It was like Playboy matching every night.
He had social anxiety, very antisocial, and he started drinking because of it. And it made him, you know, talk to people and communicate, become fun, become the life of the party.
The guy would go out, party, stay out all night, come to a game and get 30 rebounds. Who's going to say that he was doing something bad?
With Dennis, if he eats, you eat. If he's shopping, you're shopping. If he's having fun, he wants to make sure you're having fun. If he's gambling, he's giving you chips so you can gamble. And other things as well.
Check this out.
As long as the Bulls were winning, Dennis could do no wrong. The more outrageous his exploits, the more popular he became.
I'm going to be the bride today.
I would dare to say at one point in time, Dennis might have actually been the biggest name in Chicago. And that's big. I mean, to say that he was at least as big as Michael Jordan is just crazy. And he was that loved at one point in the city.
The crush of media, spectators, fans, and police made for quite a divine entrance. No one threw rice, but Diva Dennis reveled in the reception. It's a publicity stunt.
It is not.
I can break people in the stands day in and day out without even shooting the ball. And that's unheard of.
With Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Phil Jackson, Dennis Rodman turned the Bulls into the greatest show in sports.
It's like traveling with the Beatles, man. Michael had a suite in this corner of the hotel. Phil had a suite on that corner. Scottie Pippen had a suite on that corner. And Dennis had a suite on this corner.
Women walk up to us and start crying. Just like in awe that he was standing in front of them.
It was like a rock star concert coming to town every night.
Dennis never let up. During the '98 NBA Finals, he spent his off days partying in Las Vegas, then flew back to Utah for the series' decisive game.
If we were in a must-win situation, I would take Dennis Rodman, I would hop on a plane, fly to Vegas, get him drunk all night, surround him by women, fly him in 1 minute before game time. I guarantee he'd have 35 rebounds and win the game.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their 2nd three-peat.
That last game was like, thank you. You know, it's like if we could even celebrate, it's like, okay, this is over. I was so just mentally trained for 3 years, running hard, running so hard.
When you're flying that high, when you're like the peak of all peaks, there's nowhere else to go but down.
Let's go, baby. VIP.
Dennis Rodman helped the Chicago Bulls celebrate their 3rd straight NBA title in 1998. Then management broke up the team, leaving Dennis high and dry.
Can't go anywhere after that. You cannot go anywhere after, that feat.
It was very disheartening for Dennis. You win 3 championships, you're the greatest team in the world, and once again, he finds himself without a home.
The Rodman Watch continues here in Los Angeles. Rumors running rampant. Speculation is Dennis will sign any day, any minute.
Dennis signed with the Los Angeles Lakers in the spring of 1999.
He'll probably be playing this week, and hopefully that the Lakers and the people of California will accept me for who I am and what I do. And if they don't, I'll move on.
But his heart wasn't in it.
He was burnt out on the NBA. He didn't care if he really played or not.
It's amazing that I'm not going to never win in this game of basketball, right? No matter what I do.
He's an extremely emotional person. I mean, he puts on a facade of being a badass, but in reality, he really is a child.
He didn't know where to go. He didn't have any goals or guidance or anything else. Or he did for 3 years have a little bit of structure.
With 2 clashing stars and a rookie coach, the Lakers were in disarray as well.
It's like, okay, you guys are unprofessional. You guys are bickering like little kids. Great. No one could be a bigger kid than me. Watch.
Detroit, San Antonio, Chicago. I mean, all the teams I played for, it's more like everyone, it was like, okay, great, let's go do a job, let's go have a beer later. This team's more like, oh, you son of a bitch, what are you doing? I mean, the whole time, it's like, oh, great.
It wasn't just the Lakers driving Dennis to distraction. A rocky romance with actress Carmen Electra included another short-lived marriage and a domestic feud that landed them both in court.
In handcuffs, former Baywatch star Carmen Electra steps from a police transport van. Also inside, her on-again, off-again lover, Dennis Rodman.
He gets caught up in relationships. That's more important to him than any game or anything else. I mean, he's succeeded at basketball already, but he's never succeeded at a relationship.
We never saw each other. And she started seeing other people, and I was doing my thing, the usual thing, having 8, 9 girls.
When she left him, that really sent him into a tailspin. He was really hurting, and it ended up ultimately costing him with the Lakers.
3 weeks before the '99 playoffs began, the Lakers cut Dennis loose.
That's the problem with being a bad boy. Whenever something goes wrong, we can pin it on you, because you're a bad boy.
Rodman's skills were declining, but he could still draw fans. So in the spring of 2000, Mavericks owner Mark Cuban brought him to Dallas to do just that.
Rebound, Rodman, yep, and a foul.
He wanted me to fill the stands. He wanted people to come to the game. And what perfect person to do that, just go get the clown.
Rodman, great effort.
Dennis came in, he did everything Mark said. All of a sudden, games are selling out, and Dennis is putting on a show, and he's sitting on the floor, and he's acting like, Dennis Rodman, the character.
Technical foul on Rodman. He's been thrown out. Holy cow. Is this what they mean by Dennis being Dennis?
Mark Cuban played him like a violin, and then let him go.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, I get the short and stick every damn time, and woo. I don't know, what am I doing wrong?
With no other offers from NBA teams, Dennis went home to Newport Beach, California. His professional reputation was in ruins, but the party was just getting started.
People are not gonna, give me any opportunity anymore because of who I am, so I'm just gonna just enjoy my life. So I just drink, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, and it was that kind of deal.
Found a lot of guys that didn't have to go to work, and they didn't mind getting drunk at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Dennis's hedonistic lifestyle seemed glamorous when he was on top. Now it helped cloud the reality of his fading career.
I said, whatever, I'm just gonna party, do this and that, screw all the girls like I always do, just whatever. And I was doing it.
1 year passes, another year passes, and Dennis falls into a situation where he is surrounded now by literally the lowest form of people alive. None of these people have a life, none of them have jobs, they're all feeding off of his money and spending his cash, and Dennis had to never been one to say no to anybody.
He's afraid that if he gets rid of them, now what do you have? Something is better than nothing.
Yes, oh yeah.
In the midst of all the partying, Dennis began a long-term relationship with Michelle Moyer, eventually fathering 2 children with her, a son DJ and a daughter Trinity.
In the beginning, it's something that draws you to him. He's like a magnet. He's got this really good soul.
She's a strong individual. She's cool. I mean, she knows my stuff, and she said, okay, great, we get together, have wild, crazy sex, and, take care of our kids. We all good. And she loves that.
We actually moved in with him to his beach home with the first child, and he continued to have the party, so I made a choice to kind of separate me and the kids from that. It was just a little too much.
Dennis and Michelle married in 2003, but continued living in separate houses.
I live here, and she lives there, with the kids, so that's not nowhere near conventional. She accepts that, she understands that, girls and people want to be around me to party. They want to party and have a good time, people like that, and it's hard for a woman to be with me because of that.
It definitely takes a lot of strength. A lot of strength. In fact, sometimes I wonder where I get it, and I wonder if I'm going to continue to have it.
They're a strange but good couple. Any woman in the world that gets involved with him, unless she lives in Siberia, knows what Dennis is about. So she's accepted a lot more, helped him a lot more, and put up with more than most women would.
In the summer of 2003, Dennis announced an NBA comeback attempt, but he made little effort to get into shape.
Dennis, you're not going to practice at all this year?
Well, I didn't do it all last year, so what's the difference?
Why should you start right now?
Well, I would start now.
Or to curtail his drinking.
Beautiful. Before he needed to become this social extrovert, now he needs it just to cope.
Actually told him, you're not going to live another year or 2 because something's going to happen to you, whether it's a car accident or liver damage, or nobody can possibly live their life this way.
You can tell somebody to do something, but 99% of the time, they're not going to do it. So I just said I had to prove to myself and make myself understand that I got to do this myself.
He was not ready to stop at that point. And I wasn't ready to walk away at that point either.
Early one morning, after spending the night at a Las Vegas strip club, Dennis crashed a motorcycle into a concrete pillar. He was charged with driving under the influence. For those who had always stood by him, it was the last straw.
The motorcycle accident was about as much as we could take, all of us, his friends and family.
I sat and said, I can't change him. And I can't have him change for me or for his children. So at this point, I'm going to walk away.
We actually gave an ultimatum, which was you either stop or we're done. I mean, I talked to Michelle, Darren talked to Michelle, she said she was done. I was done. Darren was quitting.
he had to make a choice. Either I'm going to lose it all, you know, or I'm going to make a decision and try to do this.
He at that time agreed that he was going to take a alcohol inhibitor called Antabuse, which is a pill that if he takes it, he would get violently ill when he drinks. And he religiously started taking that pill.
You got to prove it to yourself that, you know, that what you're doing is right. If you're doing it for somebody else, that don't work. Because you'll eventually go back and do it.
Fortunately for us, he listened. And he hasn't touched the bottle since.
By the end of 2003, a sober Dennis Rodman was back in the gym, determined to confound fans and critics one more time.
I just want to come and finish my goal, my dream, to finish the game the way I started.
Four years after his last NBA game, 43-year-old Dennis Rodman is chasing a dream.
I'm doing rebounding from a lot of things in my life. I'm just rebounding from drinking now to being sober, now trying to rebound to go back into the NBA.
Dennis is working toward a goal, and that is something that has given him purpose in his life, because let's face it, the last 5 years he had no purpose. His purpose in life was to get drunk and to party. He had no focus. So basketball has been his savior.
In December of 2003, Dennis joined the Long Beach Jam of the American Basketball Association. His first pro game in 4 years.
Rodman, offensive rebound, and he gets his first bucket.
3 months later, he led them to the ABA title.
The whole time he was playing with them, he was coaching them. It was incredible.
It wasn't Dennis the menace, it was Dennis the mentor, it was Dennis the teacher.
Yeah, but a lot of people didn't really think I can do something like that. And I just went out there and did it to show people I can actually go out there and coach players. And I had to show players, and they actually listened to me.
Dennis hoped his performance would entice an NBA team to sign him up. But when the 2004 playoffs began, he was watching from the sidelines.
Dennis would like to make a comeback now. There's no team in the NBA that'll touch Dennis Rodman.
And he'll deny that he watches basketball, but he's watching every damn playoff game every single night at his house by himself and missing it, really missing it.
But Dennis has never been the type to take no for an answer. Week after week, he's retooling his body and priming himself for one last shot.
I just want to come and finish my goal, my dream, to finish the game the way I started. If it does happen, it's going to be a feat that no one's ever done in the game of basketball.
Everybody's worried about, oh, is he going to make the NBA? I could care less. To walk away from that alcohol is huge.
He is a completely different person. He's trying to turn his life around. And for me, it's just I mean, it's exciting, because I was scared to death for Dennis Rodman.
Dennis is struggling to change direction off the court as well, by becoming the father that he never had to his children.
I look at her 2 years, she's straight like me. She gives no affection. No affection. She looks at you, she gives you all these weird looks like, you know, what are you looking at? My little boy is totally different. He'll sit there and kiss you and hug you, you know, and say, I love you 24 hours a day.
DJ's got a really, really big heart. He's very loving, and so's his father. He's becoming affectionate with me and the children. And Trinity demands it. He doesn't have a choice with her.
His youngest children, he's actually putting a lot of effort in, and he's putting an effort in with his older children too. You know, he cares about all his kids.
I think it's tough for Dennis to let anybody close to him, even these beautiful little creatures, these children of his, because he doesn't trust, and it all goes back to his dad.
He does want to do this. And I know he's capable of it. I think he's just going to take a little longer than the norm, you know? I think it's going to take him a little longer.
I've always said maybe I can give the love to my kids that my father never gave to us. So, but it's still hard to do that.
No one knows for sure where Dennis Rodman is heading next. But for those who've watched him come this far, there's cautious hope of better days to come.
He's starting to realize that you're okay. Who you are, sober, is all you need to be.
It's step by step by step, you know? And, you know, we work on it every day. So I just take a deep breath and go, okay, we made it through another day. Can we do another one?
There's a script I'm following that I'm writing right now, and I'm living that movie. I keep saying that, living that movie, and the movie hasn't ended yet.